The Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos in Spanish, is a holiday celebrated in Mexico and some other parts of Central and South America. The holiday is a time to remember and honor deceased loved ones, and it is typically celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, which coincide with the Catholic holidays of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. The origins of the Day of the Dead date back to pre-Columbian times, when the Aztecs and other indigenous peoples of Mexico held rituals to honor their ancestors and the dead. When the Spanish colonized Mexico in the 16th century, they brought with them Catholicism, and the indigenous rituals merged with Catholic traditions to create the modern Day of the Dead. One of the most iconic figures associated with the Day of the Dead is La Catrina, a female skeleton dressed in elegant clothing and a fancy hat. The origin of La Catrina can be traced back to the early 20th century, when Mexican artist José Guadalupe Posada created a series of satirical etchings featuring skeletons engaged in everyday activities. One of these skeletons was a female figure he called La Calavera Catrina, which roughly translates to the elegant skull. Posada's La Catrina was a commentary on Mexican society at the time, which was marked by great social inequality. The figure was meant to satirize the upper classes who were trying to distance themselves from their indigenous roots by adopting European fashions and customs. Today, La Catrina has become a symbol of the Day of the Dead and is often used as a decorative element in altars and parades. In addition to La Catrina, there is also a male counterpart known as El Catrin, who is typically depicted as a dapper gentleman skeleton dressed in a suit and top hat. El Catrin is also a common figure in Day of the Dead celebrations, and like La Catrina, he represents the idea that death is an inevitable part of life and that everyone, regardless of social status, will eventually meet the same fate. Overall, the Day of the Dead is an important holiday in Mexican culture that celebrates the lives of loved ones who have passed away. It is a time for families to come together, remember their ancestors, and honor their memory in a festive and joyous way. There is no traditional love story between La Catrina and El Catrin in the context of the Day of the Dead celebrations. However, in modern pop culture and artistic interpretations of the holiday, the two figures are sometimes depicted as a couple or even as wedding guests. These depictions are often more about celebrating the holiday and the idea that death is a natural part of life, rather than being based on any specific historical or cultural traditions. In some cases, La Catrina and El Catrin may be portrayed as a symbol of love and commitment that transcends death, which is a common theme in many cultures. That said, it is important to note that the traditional focus of the Day of the Dead is on honoring and remembering deceased loved ones, rather than on romantic relationships. The holiday is a time to celebrate life and to acknowledge the role that our ancestors have played in shaping who we are today. Stay tuned for more video on Catrina and Catrin.